Hi, and welcome to another episode of Ayana Productions, your online source for news and entertainment. I'm your host, Tashante Snyder. This episode marks our third season, so we would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our viewers for all of their support. Now, we do have a very, very interesting episode for you today. This episode, we have an actress named Nhadya Salomon, and we're going to be interviewing her at New Urban Cafe, located in St. Albans, New York, home of smoked salmon puff pastry pillows, buttermilk red velvet waffles, and much, much more.
Hi, it's your girl Sharif from Maranatha Productions here with Nhadya Salomon, upcoming actress. Hi, Nhadya. Good to meet you. Heard good things about you. You're acting, you took an acting message, you got a lead or something. Never give up, right?
Actually, the first role I was cast in when I arrived to New York, which was only about 4 months ago. So it's been a journey, and it was about a little girl who comes from was passed around from foster care, foster home to foster home, and she grows up to an adult. She becomes a businesswoman and just a productive person in society.
Nhadya, you have a show. I understand you had a show last month. You have one coming up this month.
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, the show airing this month is on Oprah Winfrey Network.
Oh, okay.
And that's exciting because Oprah was one of my heroes. After my mama and God, of course, mama. And mama will kill me.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So that was just definitely an honor to be a part of that show. It's called Unfaithful. And, right, so I do play a baby mama. So that gets a little dramatic.
Let me stop.
My clothes stayed on. But yeah, absolutely. I did do that for Oprah. That was that's airing. I think this entire month is showing some reruns on that.
Good for you.
And last month I did something on the Bio channel. Flossie Harry, you remember her from Sister Sister, the mom?
Oh yeah.
227. So it was her story on Celebrity Ghost Story. I played, she was a little child, her mom on the show. This is my first time ever playing a mom. It was kind of scary for me. So I'm like,
I know you handled your business though.
I handled my business.
Okay, there you go. So you going to Maggie Flanagan?
Absolutely.
Acting courses and stuff like that?
Right.
You do your thing, girl. You've been in 4 months. These people been here for 40 years. 4 months. Oh, and I got this and I got that. You're doing good. I like that.
Trying.
You're doing good. But tell us about your acting lessons. What's going on with that?
It's actually a conservatory program, so it's very intense.
Okay, so you pretty much knew where you were going to do since you were like, what, 6 months?
Something like that. Something like
So
that.
is there anything else you wanted to do in life outside of acting? What would that be?
Ooh, good question. Well, it's a job that I would continue to do while I'm acting, to be honest, and that's something with kids.
Okay.
I just have connection. I just sound weird, but I have connection with kids, and I don't quite know why I'm so in love with them, but I am. And I'm also a big believer in not becoming a product of your environment. So in college I actually founded a nonprofit, which I'm not head of anymore, but I was president of what I founded then, and it was to give back to kids in Haiti.
I love kids myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love kids. I'm old school with it, but I love children. I don't listen.
What do you mean old school?
I don't want to talk about that. I won't get arrested.
You believe in whipping?
Well,
I believe in whipping.
I'm old school with it. Yo, you with me?
High five.
Okay. I saw on your website that they said you got into film and to TV and all that stuff to escape from what are we escaping from?
Well, I guess that goes back to childhood as well. So as a child, I come from a single parent household. I still spoke with my biological dad here and there, but it was obviously a lot of it was on mom. So a lot of that kind of stresses that come with that have kind of come from being pretty broke as kids as well. I went to middle school, which was more so an urban community, and sort of what they highlighted their prize is sort of who's the best dressed and all the things that my mom didn't teach us to care about in middle school. So that was kind of tough for me because we didn't really have all that. So when I finally got to my performing art schools, sort of acting was able to kind of scream and release and get away from all the things I didn't have.
So, when you leave here, we all know what you wanted to be when you were 12, but when you leave here, what do you want to be said about you? Because I know you don't want to be said, she wore that blue dress, you know, she was the best dress. What do you want to be said about you and your character? What do you want to stay back when you go from you?
I've said this to agents I meet, casting directors I meet, is that I absolutely want to make a difference, not only on the set, but off the set. But one of integrity and someone who treated people well, and as a whole.
That's beautiful. On that note, because you know what? I think she's living that. You gotta live it to have it said about you. She's a beautiful spirit. Check her out. Keep my eye out for her. Nhadya Salomon. She's gonna bust on the screens. I'm telling you.
I love it.
She's gonna bust on the screens. I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm Nhadya Salomon, and you are watching Ayana Productions. Online source for news and entertainment. Keep it here.
Thank you, Nhadya, for being on the show. You were a lot of fun. Now, Ayana Productions would like to pay tribute to a great African American inventor by the name of Lewis Howard Latimer. Lewis Howard Latimer, great African American inventor, born September 4th, 1848, created the carbon filament used in light. You know, we all owe Lewis Latimer a great debt of gratitude for bringing such an essential invention into the world. And now we have an exclusive interview with Maranatha Tabernacle's own Pastor James C. Blocker. He is also the author of 2 books, the first of which is entitled The War Against the Church, and his most recent book, which is entitled Yours Because of Calvary, The Life and Times of Apostle Arturo Skinner. So why don't you check it out?
Hi, this is Cherie from Ayana Productions, and today I am here with author and pastor James C. Blocker. He's the author of a couple of books. He also did a CD a few years back, and he's author of Yours Because of Calvary, which is a very interesting read. But he did another book prior to that, The War Against the Church, which was a very interesting read. But tell our viewers what you were trying to get through, the message you tried to get through.
Well, The War Against the Church was basically about spiritual warfare that Christians go through. This is sort of like a spiritual warfare 101. First of all, it describes their enemies, how their enemies operate, and how we are to combat each adversary that comes against us. A lot of times I found out in pastoring and counseling that folks are not aware of their spiritual enemies, and therefore they can fall prey to them. That's why I wrote the book. Hopefully it enlighten us and strengthen us that we may be able to go against the enemy and come out successful.
How did you come by getting involved with Pastor Skinner?
Well, I met with Pastor Skinner some years ago, back in 1963 actually. He was having a crusade in Queens, New York at the Polish Hall on 108th Avenue and Sutton Boulevard. And I was there. My grandmother asked me to take her to accompany her to the meeting. And I was there, and he preached the word of God, and it touched my heart. And at that time, I gave my heart to the Lord. That was my first meeting with Pastor Skinner. And then a year later on, I was fellowshipping with the church, and the pastor there knew Pastor Skinner and introduced me to him. And at that point, he took one look at me and said, I want you to come back and see me more often. And from there, he became sort of like a spiritual father to me.
Has he influenced your ministry?
Oh, to be sure. Pastor Skinner influenced my ministry in the sense of his spiritual gifts. He's a very gifted man. If anybody who's in the Pentecostal or charismatic movement knows that we believe in all the spiritual gifts as mentioned in 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. He was very gifted there. What influenced me more was his prayer life. We often talk about his prayer life. And whatever happens, have a prayer life. The third way he influenced me was soul winning. I mean, nobody went after souls like Arturo Skinner. I mean, he believed in winning souls, and especially nowadays, it's so needed. Ministers that are out for souls, out to reach the lost for Christ, and he taught us that. And anything else we knew we had to reach the lost at any cost. I don't know if anyone who's as much as gracious as he was, as far as giving and sympathetic to people and helping the young folks, especially during that time in the 60s and 70s. A lot of young people that came to his church were basically from the ghetto, in the city. And he taught them, and he brought us, me included, to different places that we have never had gone if it wasn't for Pastor Skinner. Right? He helped us out in school, and that's all. A lot of them, he paid for their weddings. I didn't get married until after he died, but he paid for a lot of their weddings, a lot of their schooling, were paid for by Pastor Skinner. They never would have done what they've done if it wasn't for him and his benevolence.
It was because of Calvary. Interesting read. Now, I remember coming up. I remember this man. I remember Pastor Skinner. I remember this man. He was a powerful minister. I remember going to crusades. I mean, there was standing room only to hear him preach at Madison Square Garden. Yes, you heard me right. Madison Square Garden.
You can pick those books up at Amazon.com if you need to, or ZulonPress.com. Zulon spelled XLUON, press.com. Or you can contact me, P.O. Box 340828, Jamaica, New York 11434-0828 if you want one of those books. I'd be glad to. God bless you. My name is James Blocker, and I'm the pastor of the Maranatha Tabernacle. Also an author of the book, Yours Because of Calvary, The Life and Times of Apostle Arturo Skinner. And you are now watching Ayana Productions, your online source for news and entertainment.
Don't forget to pick up those books. Well, that does it for another episode of Ayana Productions. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, I'm Nhadya Salomon, and you are watching Ayana Productions. Your online